All right, today we find ourselves in the Glenwood Cemetery in Kansas, and still snow on the ground, guys. We're gonna go find some of the older graves and see what we can find. So this place is very peaceful, very beautiful cemetery. The trees here are pretty awesome. They line the little road that goes around and through. It's still an active cemetery. There are plenty of modern burials here. One that took place just a couple weeks ago. And it is a nice little resting place. It is right next to a major road. There's a road right there, cars zooming by, but the noise of the traffic isn't that bad. I've seen a lot of cool stones that I really enjoyed, older stones. I took some B-roll of those, but I want to point out a few of them before I leave. So let's take a look at those. So we talk about a lot on this show, the burial of children, which always bums me out. But we see it a lot, especially in the older stones, the older graves. The mortality rate of children back in the day, back in the early 1900s, was not great. One of the ways you can clearly tell it's the grave of a child is by imagery such as a lamb. And I've seen a few of these stones in this cemetery. It's a lamb sitting on a block within the information on the person buried there. This particular one is for Claude Edward, who died in, I believe, born in 1916 and then died in 1921, I believe. But you can see the lamb on top. Lambs generally signify children. One of my favorite type of stones is what's called basically a pedestal stone. I've talked about them before. They look like that. Generally, they'll have a book placed on there, or, you know, the carving of a book. That book can be open, it can be closed. It really all depends on what they're trying to signify. It could mean that they liked books, they liked wisdom, they liked learning, they were educators. Sometimes the book on the pedestal means you'll see the book closed, and you've seen that in a bunch of the B-roll here because there's several pedestal stones here. When the book's closed, that means that's the end of this person's story. The book is closed on that person's life. This one I really enjoyed because it is very slim. It is a slim pedestal. It looks really cool. You can't really read the stone all that well. We'll take a look. There's a name on the side here. We'll take the sound of children playing in the houses directly behind this cemetery. Never want to be in a cemetery and you hear a blood-curdling scream, but I know it's children. Big brother's messing with his little sister. So this particular stone was for Cora Warren, I believe. Born May 1874, and I want to say died in 1874 as well. I've said, I think once or twice in some episodes about the cleaning of stones. I like the look of an aged stone. It's one of the things that draws me to cemeteries. But I don't want the stones to degrade or get that aged look so much that you can't read them. So I totally am all for the cleaning and restoration of headstones, even when it takes away that kind of old flair to them that I like. But for instance, this one I believe could be saved, and you could probably read the whole inscription if it was properly cleaned. Does the color on it look cool? Does the age on it look cool? Yes, it looks cool, but we don't want something to look cool and then lose the identity of the person that is buried here. So it would be awesome if this one could get cleaned up to the point where we could actually read who was in this plot. This is another stone that caught my eye. The pedestal with the draped cloth over it. The design on this has held up really, really well considering the age of the stone. This person passed away in 1893, but it looks great. And the aging on it, I mean, it kind of adds that little touch. Before I leave, I want to show you what looks to be some sort of restoration on a stone as best somebody could. It looks like it's a stone that broke in half, fell, and they basically made a replacement base for it in a way. So what they did, this stone broke in half, fell. They made this bit to then place the stones inside, cement it, so that it was held together in some form or fashion. That is one way to restore something. I've seen that in plenty of cemeteries. Do what you can. Repairing of stones, especially older marble ones, is expensive, and if that is the stone of your loved one and that's the only way you can figure out how to fix it, then more power to you. But again, that goes back to a tip I shared a long time ago, is if you're in a cemetery and you see a stone broken, fallen to some extent like that, don't try and fix it yourself. Leave that to the professionals.